I think it's probably better, hopefully. Hopefully. So I'm watching this video, how to naturally expand your palate. So apparently, you know, you can fix your teeth alignment, your jaw, you know what I'm saying? Your jawline, and increase the size of your mouth basically, like the yeah. So you can have like straighter teeth, no overbite. I already watched this video, but I'm gonna do like a reaction now. So
Orthodontics, no braces, no external devices. No lies, no scams, straight to the point, gold dust. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Oscar Patel. I interned at various myofunctional institutes, researched on a scientific study. I'm currently trying to conduct my own scientific study. I also have one of the largest health-based paid communities in the world, and I help people improve their looks by fixing their health. And here, it's a load of transformations and my own transformation to back it all up. And for those of you that think these photos aren't real or anything, here's my palette right now. You can clearly see the results. So without further ado, let's get into it. What you need to realize is that our ancestors had 50mm palates, no malocclusion, therefore perfectly straight teeth, no overbites, no underbites. They didn't need to get their wisdom teeth removed because they had proper habits and a proper lifestyle. When you have proper chewing, swallowing, breathing, and posture from birth, this loosens your fascia, adapts your sutures, and therefore your habits will shape your skull. Your palate will become wider, your tongue will be able to push upwards and outwards on the palate, the roof of the mouth. You will breathe better, your airways will open up. When your airways open up, this will further loosen the fascia, further enhance posture, allow the muscles to activate. When you activate the muscles, this creates osteoblasts, which will then adapt the bone, and it becomes this beautiful sequence. But as a byproduct of a toxic modern lifestyle, where we all have imperfect habits and imperfect lifestyle, and due to chewing softer food and more problems arising as a result, that's when people need intervention, where they need things like braces or aligners, or when they develop crooked teeth. None of this is genetic. What even is genetics? Genetics is just the health and habits of your ancestors, and you have full control over your own health and habits in your life. And what you need to realize is that in the modern world, the average palate size is way smaller. Our palates are between 32 and 37mm, which is more than 15mm smaller than our ancestors. If you want to measure the width of your palate to know exactly, where you're at, then you can measure the distance between your first molars. There's an image on the screen. It's the distance between your first molar, not your back molar, and the distance from the inside of the tooth to the other inside of the tooth. You cannot get too wide of a palate. We are so far off of how we were meant to be that the wider your palate, literally just the better looking you will be. You want to aim to have a 40mm plus palate, and less than 0.1% of you watching this will genuinely have a larger than 40mm palate. I'm at about 39.5 at the moment. And you can look at people like John Mew, who did a case study with identical twins, one of them who was completely recessed and had 4 teeth extracted, and that therefore narrowed his palate, created more breathing issues down the line, and another twin who he treated naturally, where he naturally expanded the palate, opened up the airways, and he became better looking, healthier, and the best version of himself. And again, I'm not completely against orthodontics, 100% speak to a professional. This is not direct medical advice. However, it is just meant to help you and supplement with becoming healthy and loosening your fascia and becoming the best version of yourself. What you need to realize is that the tongue is the main driver of growth. So the only way to naturally expand your palate, because it's very easy to temporarily expand it, even if you get something like a palate expander, in 90% of cases there's relapse. The only way this doesn't occur is if your tongue acts as a natural retainer. Your tongue needs to be glued to the roof of your mouth, holding everything in place. Your tongue can provide 600 grams of force. It takes 20 grams of force to move a tooth. So therefore, if you don't believe that your tongue is as powerful, you don't realize how powerful your tongue actually is, it is super powerful. So that's the baseline, and this is step one. You need to activate the muscles within your tongue. You need to have proper tongue posture. You need to make sure that you're tongue chewing for 5 to 10 minutes a day. You need to make sure that you're stretching the tongue out, activating the genioglossus and hyoglossus muscle, and suction mewing throughout the day, and also while you sleep. You should be sleeping on your side and suction mewing just before you sleep in order to keep the tongue against the roof of your mouth. If you sleep on your back, your tongue can't stay against the roof of your mouth, and therefore your palate cannot develop upwards and outwards. It cannot expand. That's the baseline step. The second step is you need to make sure that your fascia and sutures are as loose as possible. There are scientific studies slightly contradict. There are some scientific studies showing that your sutures fuse in your late 30s, others which say the opposite, others which say that in some cases they never fully fuse. But what's for certain is that your fascia, which is a layer of connective tissue throughout your body, and the muscles within your face can always be adapted. They can always develop. And if you change the muscles and you change the fascia, then as a byproduct, in many cases, the bones will slightly adapt. So that's a very important topic. Now, in order to loosen the fascia and the sutures, the second step is to do some proper breath work. Your breath is super important. If you don't breathe properly, your sutures become tight and constricted. The sutures are the joints in your skull, by the way. And as a byproduct, you won't be able to shift things, and you definitely won't be able to shift things permanently. At the same time, your fascia, when it becomes super tight, will stress out your nervous system, it will affect digestion, it will affect movement, and it will constrict everything from developing. Your baseline breathing pattern should be 4 seconds in and 6 seconds out. This will help regulate your nervous system, reset your breathing, and when your breathing's proper, then everything else can develop. You can test this out right now if you breathe in deeply through your nose for a few seconds like this. your posture becomes better, your chest comes out, your neck aligns. When your posture is good, this allows your tongue to stay in through your mouth. This allows everything to develop upwards and forwards, and this creates the conditions for proper habits. Remember, and if we all had proper habits from birth, our palates would naturally expand and be wider and our face is more developed. This then goes into the third step, which is where things are getting more and more important. You need to then leverage mechanical tension. You need to provide pressure on your palate, either with your tongue, which you can begin with by doing things like tongue chewing, and then building this up to proper thumb pulling and chin tucking. You need to realize that you can directly touch the mid-palatal suture. The mid-palatal suture is the line that goes directly down your palate, and you can literally see it. You can loosen the mid-palatal suture if you push and pull on your palate. This doesn't need to be dangerous. This shouldn't be crazy. You shouldn't use an external device. You shouldn't get a wrench or do anything nuts. But you can do basic osteopathic techniques and provide mechanical tension. You can do something like thumb pulling and chin tucking, which is standing against the wall, tucking your chin to your neck to stabilize your fascia, stabilize your deep frontal line, and then providing upward and outward pressure with your thumbs to loosen the mid-palatal suture, relieve the fascia, and allow everything to develop upwards and forwards. I have a full video on my YouTube channel explaining how to do thumb pulling 2.0 and a full beginner's guide. You can check that out. It shouldn't be crazy. I know it's a weird, cringe term, but it does work. It is effective, and I am currently doing my own scientific study, attempting to back all of that up. So stay with me on that. And here's a load of results to prove it. That's the third step. From this base, you'll loosen the fascia, loosen the sutures, engaging the correct muscles within your tongue to maintain. That's the third step. From this base, you'll loosen the fascia, loosen the sutures, engaging the correct muscles within your tongue to maintain permanent passive habits. You've stabilized your breath, which has further loosened your sutures and allowed proper posture. And then you can combine this with the most important step, which is activating the correct muscles. You need to be activating the correct muscles throughout the entirety of your face every single day. The reason we have narrow palates or bad habits in the first place is because we don't chew properly. When you don't chew properly, you don't engage mechanotransduction to then develop the bones, develop the skull, and therefore you don't create the conditions for the palate to expand. If you're not chewing properly, then you're just wasting your time. And a lot of people cannot chew properly. That's the big problem. When they chew, they will engage their temporalis muscles too much, or they won't engage their masseter muscles enough, or when they swallow, they won't engage the correct muscles within their tongue because they don't have properly developed facial muscles. So you need to do myofunctional exercises, myofunctional techniques to activate the correct muscles. You need to do things like activating the orbicularis oris muscle around your mouth to engage better swallowing. You need to get mind muscle connection with your masseter muscles. You need to do full myofascial releases, massaging everything and loosening it. You should do some form of lymphatic drainage because your lymphatic system interplays with all of this. And you also must 100% must combine this with facial compound techniques, which I may or may not do a video on. Obviously, the whole problem with this is it is dependent on circumstances. Again, this is not medical advice. I don't want to give specific advice to specific people and make this a general blanket video. But if you do want personal help, you do need to know exactly what to do. You need to realize your deficiencies, know exactly where you're weaker, understand which exercises you need to do, what times you need to do them, and how to combine that with everything else, because health is looks in a systemized routine. If you want help with that, you're more than welcome to join my community. The link is in the description. It is growing very rapidly right now, so thank you all so much for the support. As of recording this video, we're growing like 100 net members a week, which is bloody insane. Loads of very cool people in there, loads of accountability, everyone.
You guys selling a course, bro?
And that gets one-to-one DM access to me. There's no obligation to join, but with the rate that we're currently growing, I'm probably honestly going to close off access to this community, because once it gets past a certain number, then I just won't. Most important, that's the third step. From this moving fundamentally, you need to make sure that you can engage the correct muscles on each side. If you have scoliosis, this will mimic in your face. If you prioritize muscles in your left shoulder rather than your right, this will mimic in your face, and this is exceptionally important to balance and stabilize your body. Basic things to do are things like mace bell training, inversion therapy, full body fascia exercise.